Hello and welcome to Third and Short Podcast, episode 21, I believe. It's the first time I'm introing us, so I hope it's 21. We'll find out. So
I hope it's not.
Probably
the amount of times you've dug me out for getting it wrong.
As you can see, we've got a guest on ourselves today. We've got Hugh Coles of the National Vintage League, who is a great guest. I'm quite excited to be here, which is why I'm doing a little bit of an intro. You're not just into American football, acting as well. If you've seen the festival, he's in the festival. If you've been to the theatre, you've seen Back to the Future, the musical. He's in that as well. He's absolutely incredible, I may have to say, as well, as a massive musical theatre fan as well. So thank you for coming on, Hugh.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the time.
I think I was going to say, I'll just go straight in if that's right, mate. Talk to us about NVL, National Vintage League. I've personally followed it on Twitter for some time now, and I know Jamie has, and I know Tom has as well, and we're quite privileged to have you on, not only from NVL but from now Channel 5 as well. Seems to have.
I think it's all a bit crap, lads. Do you know what I mean? It's crap old shop in Peckham. It's crazy. I literally started it on my kitchen table because I love like 1990s stuff, and I love obviously my Buccaneers, but more than that, I always used to go into like vintage shops, or I'd see online, like trawling eBay, I'd always see like it's a Marcus Allen jersey from the Chiefs or Raiders, and it'd be like a kid's small, and so it wouldn't even fit on my hand, but I'd be like, I've got to get it because it's sick. And so essentially National Vintage League was just an excuse to buy all the NFL gear that I can get my hands on, really. And then I was saying the other day that because now we've got so much of it, if I wasn't buying it and selling it, I'd probably be sectioned by now, because there's so much, like, no man should have this much NFL merchandise. So I'm lucky that people are interested in buying it. But the best thing about it is literally like getting to meet guys like you guys. And I was actually doing a podcast earlier today, and it's talking about the NFL community. There's nothing better than, because it's such a disparate thing, and obviously you guys are all mates, but to get involved with the NFL, with people up and down the country, through the vintage or through podcasts or through fantasy, it's just, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. And obviously with the National Vintage League as well, it's not just fans as well. You actually provided Shaq Barrett with his jersey on the parade as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we did. That was like the best moment of my life.
That was amazing.
We were doing like a league live earlier in the season, where we essentially watched the games, and I fully intended to watch the Buccaneers implode this season, but we know how that turned out.
I wish they had.
Well, they didn't, I'm afraid.
No, they didn't.
Like 2002 all over again. Very well.
Please don't.
But we were live, and then someone was like, lads, he's worn your jersey, because obviously we had him on the NBL show earlier in the season, and he started sort of window shopping from our set behind us. He was like, oh, what's that one? And so he got off the call, and we sent him, I think it was 3 jerseys. We sent him the Stitch Doug Martin, which was my personal jersey, which he wore eventually on the Super Bowl Parade. And I was like, fits him a lot better than it fits me. And he wore the Derek Brooks jersey, which is another stitched one. But for him to wear it to the stadium, and like, because that's the ideal as a vintage seller, you sell a vintage jersey to a player, and then they do that walk into the stadium with all the paparazzi there. You're like, brilliant, excellent. Yeah. And if you could tag us up, Leonard, from that would be excellent. But it was crazy. It's been an absolutely ridiculous season, just in terms of like you said, the Channel 5 stuff as well. It's been crazy.
Yeah. So obviously the Buccaneers. Why the Bucs?
The Buccaneers. Why the Bucs? I asked myself that for 18 long years, and then stopped asking myself that.
I'm still going.
I played ESPN 2K5 for PS2, and I got that from Woolworths, which really ages this story. I had a copy of News of the World tucked under my arm, stocks in Enron, and I walked out of Woolworths with a copy of ESPN 2K5. And I played that and I loved it. And then I originally picked the Indianapolis Colts, but I think I bought it a few years after 2005. So they just won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning and the Devin Hester return. And I thought, well, I can't support the best team. I'm not going to like wade in and start supporting Manchester United. So this team has got a pirate on their logo and a pirate ship in the stadium. Why would you not use them? I'm amazed more people don't. Like, the Giants have got what? They used to have Odell Beckham Jr.
They're not even in New York.
No, exactly.
Jones.
And then, you know, if a team has a functioning pirate ship in the stadium, there's no reason not to support them. Unfortunately, I didn't look at their record or indeed roster. So there was 18 long years of pain, which have come full circle into a Super Bowl win, which the second time I've mentioned that in 10 minutes.
And it's great. I mean, it was one of the best moments ever when Tom Brady came into it. How, like, to get the GOAT to come into the team and do it. Matt and Tom hate Tom Brady, but, you know, like, I love him even more now.
Of course they do.
It's the least surprising thing. I'd say he's the GOAT. I just think he's a bit of a prick.
Okay. I'll raise you. There was a moment where the entire world of people, like everyone who lives in Tampa Bay or New England, loves Tom Brady, right? And there was a moment on that Super Bowl parade where Tom Brady started acting like a human being, and everyone was like, "Oh God, he's actually really relatable. He's having loads of beers and chucking the trophy around."
It just made me hate him a bit more.
Oh, how?
That bit when he was getting carried out was just amazing. When he just like, a little bit too much tequila.
Yeah, he's not a cyborg.
Oh,
it's just that he managed to put it on for that 5 minutes. It just makes you hate him.
Some would say he's perhaps a better actor than yourself, Hugh. I don't know.
Well, he's actually taking my role in Back to the Future. So I'm not too big of a fan of him either.
Amazing. So I want to know, we have an ongoing joke on this pod about Jameis Winston, because Jamie absolutely adores him. So I just want to know what your thoughts are.
You can tell by the face then.
What a bizarre mix. I love Tom Brady. I love the Buccaneers. I also love Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston was our quarterback for 5 years. He was the franchise. How can we not love him?
You're allowed to not love him when he plays terribly. You can use critical thinking.
No.
Were you at the game against the Panthers at Tottenham?
Yeah, that was
and
a
you
very
still
bad
like
day.
him.
I mean, to be fair, last year he threw the most passing yards. He threw the most yards throughout the whole season. Granted, he did throw 30 interceptions, but you know,
right, 30 touchdowns.
No one's ever gonna beat that. He is a beast of a player. He's unique.
Tom Brady beat that this year. What are you talking about?
No, I meant interceptions.
What planet are we on?
I mean, if we're bad, the Buccaneers, like you said, 18 years of hurt, we might as well throw some records in there and get some interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did really like Jameis Winston, and I do wish him all the best. But it is like, now that he's gone and he's our ex, and we've got a really nice, hot new girlfriend who is 43 years old and a man. Yeah, I'm more than happy to just say, well, enjoy the Saints. I do hope he has a career elsewhere, because he's not terrible. He just makes stupid decisions like the eat a dub thing, and you know, it's just like, he made more memes than he did memories.
Yeah, agreed.
I'd like to slightly sort of sidetrack from the NFL and talk about your acting life. I've got a couple of nieces and my daughter who I'm sure one of them will want to into acting. My eldest niece is really keen on it. What sort of got you into acting way back when, and how do you see what your aspirations? Do you want to go even bigger, even further? I know that's a bit of a curveball. It's not what the show's about. But...
Yeah. What got me into acting? People clap you at the end. That's always nice. I don't know. It's just like it's just something that was always been in me, and I just love to do it. It's just one of those things where when I'm not doing it, I don't feel like myself, and the thrill of Jamie, you said you came to see Back to the Future in Manchester. The thrill of that opening night, that was the best night of my life. And it's just times like that, because it's very, 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 very hard to be an actor, because you get so much rejection and all that kind of stuff. But moments like that, like opening night, Back to the Future, and like some other jobs that you mentioned, it's just such I just know it's what I was put here to do, and so coming across too sincere, it's just, you have to know that it's for you, because it's not fun sometimes. You know.
Yeah. Well, I've Jamie's performed. I've performed stand-up comedy for 8 years, and I kind of know that the buzz you get when you come off stage is like nothing else. Yeah. You can have 10 bad gigs, but if you have a good gig, it makes you want to carry on and keep going.
Exactly.
It's insane, really.
Yeah.
And I just want to say as well, like, you are incredible in Back to the Future, the musical. Just to blow up your own little horse.
Thanks, man.
Like, literally, when you first came on in the house scene, and it was like, you thought Crispin Glover was on the stage. Like, the way you played George McFly was just phenomenal. And my girlfriend wanted me to tell you how amazing you were as well. So there you go.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we get to do it again at some point. We are literally talking straight through the Boris Johnson announcement.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Football is more important.
But
so bringing it back slightly, I suppose, then before Jamie starts gushing even more. During obviously the NBL stuff, what has been your favourite piece of memorabilia that you sort of either had your hands on or you still got your hands on, that you've seen or anything like that?
It's the really weird stuff. Like, it's really nice getting jerseys in and jackets in and stuff like that. But we did a road trip last summer to up and down California. And I met up with loads of thrifters out there. Like, there's a guy called Justin who runs Stuck in the 90s Sports, and I don't know if you come across that on Instagram, but he is a king. Like, I only knew him online from doing this, and he had no reason to be so welcoming and warm to me. So I went to his house up in around San Francisco, and he was like, "Right, get to this car park 7 a.m. and we're going to go round." And I was like, "All right, go round, cool," because thrifting in the UK and thrifting in America are very different things. But he took me to the Oakland Coliseum, where the old Raiders played, and the Warriors and the Oakland A's still play. And there's a swap meet there. And it's just so cool to be up at that time in the morning, both dressed head to foot in vintage, trying to outflex each other. And some of the cool stuff that you just find on this stand, like there was a Super Bowl blimp that someone gave to me as a gift. And it's from the Broncos' second Super Bowl, I think, but it's like one of those blimps you just suction onto your car windscreen, and just how lovely everyone was to me is what I attached to that item. Not only is it completely novel and stupid, but it's something I would never sell, I don't think, because it's just a jokes item, and I've attached a lot of my time there. It speaks through that object. And Justin as well, he got me, I don't know if you've seen, I've got my 1980s Bucko Bruce creamsicle Zubaz tiger stripes, which it's just unbelievably rare. Just stupid rare. So those as well, they're my personal favorite.
Awesome.
And is it just the NFL that you're into? Are you into the other American sports, NBA or baseball?
Love it all, baby. Yeah.
Because usually just on the National Vintage League, it's usually just American football and college, usually, isn't it? And a little bit of the XFL as well, but
a little sprinkling of XFL in there, maybe some AAF when we get down the line. Last about 2 years.
AAF, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, already vintage, and it was last year. So I love all kinds of sports. I got today a Randy Johnson, who's a pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I got his jersey in. I just love the style of it all, the era, how it's made, and I just love sport in general, particularly American sports, because my performing background, it kind of marries the two, where it's like sport, but then also every time they stop playing, it's just theatre, and then it's back to sport, and then it's a TV timeout for more theatre, and then back to sport. Right.
Yeah, so you go to watch the American. I don't know if you've been to see any baseball or basketball. Like I say, it's just a massive show. If you go to watch football, you just sat there in the freezing cold 45 minutes, go get a pasty, come back and watch another 45 minutes. You're there for I watched the Knicks the other year at Madison Square Garden, one of the best experiences I've ever had. I'm not even into basketball, but it was just watching them. I think they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. I had no idea what was going on half the time, but it's just a spectacle. Everything's going on, cheerleaders, basketball. It's the best thing ever. I mean, maybe put some. They had cheerleaders in football at one point, didn't they? In footy, sorry.
Blackburn Rovers had
a couple, yeah.
Yeah, they had cheerleaders back in footy, didn't they?
Yeah. Tuesday night in Blackburn, get the cheerleaders out. Good Lord.
Yeah. You can imagine what the quality was as well, can't you?
Right, exactly. In the midst of the rain, there's a real abject difference between the limited football that I've watched. I used to be an Arsenal fan. yeah, but then I sort of like that went by the wayside after the Invincible season. I was like, right, good, can't get any better than this, I'm out.
It still hasn't been beat.
Yeah, and then the abject difference, because I went to go and watch Portsmouth versus Southampton, which I wasn't aware was a real derby, when I was like 12, I think. It was on a football trip. And the difference between, you know, the great experience of NFL Wembley, where you're sat with people you don't know but love the niche interest that you have, and everyone's like good-natured, and people are like, oh, NVL, and I'm like, oh yeah, I sold you that thing, that's sick. And the difference between that and a Southampton fan managing to hit David James with a pie from the back row, so different. It's two different ends of the spectrum.
So with next season, obviously, Brady's coming back.
Yeah.
Are you thinking we're going to run it back and do it back to back? Is that the hope? Is that the dream?
No, I want us to not run it back. Of course, that's the dream. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for the Buccaneers because obviously Tom Brady. I don't think his play is going to drop off. I think they've captured lightning in a bottle with Bruce Arians and him. Like he's sort of like got his wild nag, and he's like, let him off the leash and just let him run. Same with Rob Gronkowski, but the problem is going to be re-signing all these players. Like, you know, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, Levante David, Leonard Fournette, he can go. But, you know, like, or trying to get this, if we can get that exact team back, minus Leonard Fournette, we'll be on easy street and we should be back there again, barring disaster. But it is the Buccaneers, so I'm primed to wait another 18 years.
We're used to the hurt, unfortunately, aren't we? So
yes, exactly, yeah.
It's like I said, I was similar to yourself. I think I played Madden about 2004, 2005, and you know, when you're back in the day if you ever played the Madden games, you had to do the IQ test, didn't you? So I don't think I did really, really well. That's why I got drafted to the Bucks, and I've been a Bucks fan ever since. So
in that game you got drafted to the Bucks.
Yeah, so that's how I supported the Bucks. So like, which I just played it, was like, I'll get drafted, did the IQ test, and now it's the Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
recently.
Yeah, so I think
it's like Madden 04, you have an IQ test, and I got drafted to the Browns. And I was like, I've spent 45 minutes making this character with all the right like grip tape and thingy tape, and then it's the Browns. I'll just switch it off, man.
Yeah. At least I can blame my sister for me supporting the Raiders. I could have been a Bucks fan. She went on holiday to Florida in 2003, I think it was, and I was just getting into NFL, and I asked for a jersey back. Didn't have a team. I said, bring me whatever jersey you want. And unfortunately, she brought me a Raiders jersey back.
Who was it?
Randy Moss.
Oh, Randy Moss. Yeah, I'm sure they were giving those away.
Yeah, well, I think that's why I got it. I think.
Have you seen the clip of Randy Moss turning around? So he's like doing his punditry for Fox or whatever in Oakland when you guys were still there, RIP, and he turns around the crowd going, Randy Raider. And he turns around and starts yelling, I am not a Raider. I've never been a Raider.
Yeah, yeah, can't stand him. He's on the list with Tom Brady.
I mean, the best thing is that it's a little bit of a sore subject, but you know, he does have a Antonio Brown jersey as well over there as a Raider.
Oh, brilliant!
So I'll tell you the story. It's become quite well known between me and the lads that we talked to in our WhatsApp group chat. But I ordered the Antonio Brown jersey, and it arrived the day we cut him. I waited weeks for it to arrive. It arrived in the morning UK time, and we cut him around about 3 PM UK time, which would have been like first thing in the morning over there.
Waited weeks for it to arrive.
Yeah.
Just for the fans. Where did you order that from?
I will not reveal my source.
Okay.
However, yeah. So I now have a non-named '84 Raiders jersey.
Did you unstitch it?
Yeah.
It did try and change it to clown at one point.
Yeah, that would have involved me purchasing extra things. I thought it
wasn't Tracy Porter. Is Tracy Porter? You had an '84 wide receiver. I think you could although it's a Nike jersey, you could probably if you're willing to go through that much effort, you put a different name on it.
Well, I was born in '84, so I'm just seeing it as
okay, there you go. So, once you get it personalised.
Yeah, I still look at it with a lot of hatred.
Yeah, the whole hog that we lost to the Bucks 0-2 on the back.
I could do. How'd you kick someone out of here, Jamie?
You've got no chance. Jamie's got control.
It's my room now.
To be fair,
I'm surprised I'm still here.
So, what have you got? Any big Go on. I was going to say, have you got any big plans for the next season? Yeah. Any big plans for the new season? I know you've had Roberto Aguayo on and you've had Shaq Barrett on during the season just gone. Have you got any plans for the off season before we start the new season?
This NBL train keeps on rolling, baby. We're not changing, not stopping. That's a good thing about the format that we do, and like the content we make is literally just we're not really focused on the issues of right now. Although, spoiler alert, in 2 weeks' time we've got a draft episode with someone who is in the draft, which is cool, and he was such a nice guy. But yeah, it's just we're just getting as many interesting people on as we can, playing stupid games with them, and just sort of doing what we do, and hopefully people enjoy it, really. But the cool thing, like you mentioned with Roberto Aguayo, is that obviously we got in contact with him and he was doing the show, which is ridiculous, but he was doing the show. And then he got signed by the Patriots for next season. And so hopefully we're going to still be in contact with him next season when he's, working with the Patriots and when he kicks the winning field goal in the Super Bowl and the final, the redemption story is complete. We will be there.
So I know obviously we're hoping there's going to be some London games this year, but you said that you've always been around there as well. Do you usually have like a pop-up store there or where people can find you?
Yeah, if we for the first pop-up store we did, wasn't this year, obviously, because it was cancelled. It was the year before. We did it at the Green Man pub, and it was great, man. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about like the NFL UK community, where it's like people who just, are sound people who like the NFL and like jerseys and just like chatting about it. For some reason, everyone just sort of like came there, and it was really great meeting everyone, because it's all well and good having screen names and email addresses and sending jerseys out to people, but when you get to meet them and they're like, oh, I got this because this, that, and the other, like that's the real stuff, where it's like this is awesome.
I think his announcement, I'm hoping we're on for the games there in any sort of hiccup, so that's massive news to, I suppose, everyone in the community in the UK. I'm sure it's what many people have been talking about, so I for one am absolutely buzzing that there's still hope.
Right,
I can't wait for it. I've actually never been one, so this will be my first one. No, I've been sort of I've only sort of recently got, probably the last 5 years I've sort of been getting into it, but then probably the past 2 years I've been at the point where I'm like, right, I'm really into it, but I'm like kind of spoiled where I'm like, well, if the Giants aren't there, I'm not gonna go watch it, but I'm sort of over that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Because when you go, I think you'll find that like I'm sure if the others you guys have gone, you're just like, it's just a celebration of this interest that we have, which is still quite niche, but it's like people, you just like having words with the Eagles fans, having words with the Cowboys and the Washington fans. It's just great. It's all good natured, and it's just it's great. It's my favorite sporting event that I've been to.
It's a great event throughout the city of London as well. Like they had the pub as well, didn't they? You could just go to the pub and the cheerleaders were there, the band were there. He's having a great time in the pub while the band and the cheerleaders were just there. You won't get that for football. I mean, people be drunk and having fights down the street. It'd be great.
Right, exactly.
Maybe a stabbing.
Do that who knows? Millwall, but it doesn't end up too
well. Did you prefer Tottenham or Wembley?
That's a good question. I preferred Tottenham, actually.
Yeah, I really liked the tailgate event we had at Wembley outside in that disused car park, wherever it was, which was good. But then I really liked the street atmosphere of Tottenham.
Right, I think they could do a lot more with that street.
Yeah,
they had the parties in the pubs, like the various pubs, but like that big long street where it's just fans milling around. It felt really like like if we had our own team and we were all dressed in the same colours, that's what it would be like. Yeah,
definitely. The stadium's phenomenal as well.
Yeah, and the pints fill up from the bottom. What more can you want?
I managed to. I've still got it. I managed to break one of those because I was drunk. I was intrigued as to how it works, so I started playing around with it, and I just prodded the bottom, and it ended up spilling my pint.
Yeah, my friend did that. He got full pint and went, "What does this do?" The whole thing.
I did similar, but I've kept the little coin thing that it was that holds it together. As a memento, that as £7 I'll never get back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Reminder never to do it again.
Yeah.
So obviously we're conscious of your time and all limited. So we usually, as much as I'm sure every one of our listeners knows who you are, we will, let our guests sort of give out their handles and just plug yourself. So to wrap it up, where can we find you? Where can we find NVL?
Well, you can find me in Peckham at the National Vintage League headquarters, which is I wish was open for like, because we had a very short period where we could invite people down, and that's the whole point. So like when people are in London for interviews or whatever, they could like come through. They don't have to buy anything. Just come and sit and play Mario Kart with us and talk NFL. That's the whole point of the office. But anyway.
Oh, I meant to ask you about N64. I collect retro consoles.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. N64 is the best thing I own.
Best game?
Best game. Ooh, yeah, probably just over Mario Kart. I would go. And then
Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
I wasn't a fan. Never was. No.
Okay, and that's been great talking to you guys. You find us National Vintage League. Just type that into Google. And Twitter is @NVL Tweets if you want stupid memes. And if you want vintage, then go to the Instagram @National Vintage League. But yeah, just
get beautiful jerseys like this.
Oh, look at that, Warren Sapp in prime condition. Look at it.
That's
just
the thing.
Doug Martin to the right, but that is.
It's one thing I always say as well. Like you're always wary about looking online and finding somewhere that's actually in good condition, and all of your stuff on there is in really good condition, which you're gonna hardly find anywhere else, or maybe from various sites like AliExpress or something like that.
Right, yeah, no, none of that will be good condition. But there's that's all down to Willie, who works with us, who I met at Tottenham actually. I was in a creamsicle bomber, and he was behind me where we got these pints that fill up from the bottom, and I was like, "Oh mate, that's sick!" And he was like, "Oh yeah, you National Vintage League?" I was like, "Yeah, give me your jacket." he's a Raider fan, and he still hasn't sold it to me. But what he did do is fleece me for a job. Cheeky sods.
He's won that one, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got the jacket, and he's got a bloody job. Yeah.
No, but like I said, thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, I know you've got some episodes to do and stuff like that, but I wish you all the best in the next season, and hopefully, in regards to London and Philadelphia, I can come down, see. It's going to be great when you're back on stage, and Back to the Future's back up and running again as well.
Yeah, awesome, boys. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much.
Take it easy, lads.
Take care.
Bye now.